unprecedented in competition to have 3 wins in a row.
Right.
So that's an incredible achievement for Liquid, but now it's up to the other teams to use this upcoming match that we're about to watch to kind of practice, get a little bit warmed up, and then move into the rest of today's games, looking to move up the leaderboards. We talked a little bit about Vega, you know, a team that we expected to do a lot. We were looking at the standings, and we noticed teams like Avangar, an aggressive team, only 5 kills all of yesterday. LG in the same boat, and even Ghost Gaming, having moved all the way up in placements, having very few kills as well. So really, it's about those lower teams getting those kills, getting those placements, and trying to move up in the standings.
Now, of course, the most important thing about this show match is that you're preparing for these 5 matches coming ahead, and you gotta be looking at different perspectives of what teams are trying to achieve what. All the top teams, they want to continue on that consistency so they can maintain the top rankings throughout day 2. But on the lower side of things, these guys are wanting to make some changes that they have not done in day 1 and try to just re-exaggerate themselves and trying to come back into this form of day 2. But how do you approach this TPP game that obviously does not count towards the end of the tournament?
Well, I mean, there's been a little bit of talk behind the scenes about the the third-person perspective, how it kind of gets you prepared for first person, and honestly, it doesn't. Third-person perspective and first person are so different from how you manage your vision, how you manage your movement. You get a lot of that information that you would have to work for in first person for free in third person. So I'm going to imagine here that we're going to see some teams trying to test each other, landing on top of each other, using it more as a warm-up for gunfighting than anything else, trying to get their aim nice and warm, because really when it comes down to it, when you're aiming down your sights, it doesn't matter what mode you're in, you're going to have to use that to your advantage. So we see here looking at Myth and LG right on top of each other right out of the gate.
We're going to see the Myth kind of having a...
well,
LG. This is the part. All right, this is the part of show match that we're trying to show you here, and Myth, and they're putting on a show by knocking off one member of LG with Tiknosh, the team leader from the Brazilian side. Let's talk about Luminosity just a little bit, since it is a show match and we can be a little more elaborate. But Luminosity, very popular team coming in from Brazil, representing the entire continent of South America. Now, they have been very successful in that region with very coveted players that are extremely popular with all the fans out there.
Yeah, Luminosity having like Skip and Ho, one of his one of the biggest streamers from South America. Teknosh, obviously a coveted talent as well, showing a lot of their individual streaming talent, but in the last couple of matches and over yesterday have had trouble just kind of adjusting to the play style, the aggression, the movement that I just don't think they see in their day-to-day, and I think it's kind of reflecting in their standings.
And we're going to talk about a lot of these teams that are coming up next. You still see Luminosity with 9X getting a buggy and driving towards kind of the Georgia Pool area. South, it seems to be empty at the moment. The north, it has been covered by Avangar. Very familiar with that as well. Lumino is going to be on the mini-map also trying to take some shots at Luminosity, but probably no threat whatsoever. But, Georgia Pool. We want to talk about the value of Georgia Pool in itself because, North has been very much separated by Luminosity and Avangar, kind of just halving it out, just throughout the North. But Georgia Pool, what does that really value in the property when it comes to, you have to make the big approaches when the circle's on the other side? Yeah,
and, Georgia Pool is a very coveted area. It has, all these buildings that provide you safe looting. Safe looting is one of the best things you can have in this game. You see teams like Tempo Storm splitting out into compounds. There's a lot of danger in that because you can have someone caught out easily. In Georgia Pool, you can kind of move around from house to house and stay close to your teammates, which in the early game is very important to stay safe. Now, you're not going to have a lot of contention in the northern end just because it's harder to kind of navigate. Typically, you'll see more teams grouping up in south. So in this particular instance, South has been left alone, so LG has been able to come in and take that for themselves.
And we're going to see a little more of this pattern here because South Georgia Pool has been open for most of the empty parts of games 1 through 4 before OG and Entis decided that it was going to be their home in game 5. But otherwise, we saw a lot of conflict between Avangar and LG down in the north, but maybe we'll see some separation. But we do see FaZe getting on the first knock onto TKZone from IFTY, and Yempty is going to get one of the first kills, the second kill coming through for this TPP show match.
Yeah, FaZe here in their native home of the Milta area, Milta Tower being their exclusively looted area as another IFTY member goes down there. That's another down for Yempty.
And we see FaZe kind of making Milta Power their home ever since they basically established themselves as a team and really just showed the power when you can get to that area. And their loot has been very successful for the time being. But, you know, IFTY and all these Chinese teams, they do like to go to these very large buildings, especially around the Sosnovka military base and also the Milta Power with these big buildings, kind of suiting their potential. But you know that the Chinese teams and the European teams like FaZe do have a very different playstyle. How do you approach these two different things when you are considering such different playstyles?
Well, I mean, the playstyle, and actually you touched on this yesterday when you mentioned that it seems that if they lose a fight, if IFTY loses a fight in a certain area, it happens with the Koreans as well, they're less inclined to back off. They'll continue to go there and take those fights. And that's just their style. They refuse to back off an area, and you can see here that they're still battling here for position.
And really, you can see from the map itself that FaZe definitely has numbers onto Aaron Siegel from IFTY. And I mean, this Chinese team, I mean, it is a TPP Showmatch, and only first place does get it also. Losing a member does put out your hopes quite a bit, but the only member left alive, FaZe is going to be looking to get an easy one before they get out of here.
Yeah, so it looks like Aaron Siegel, the last man standing for IFTY, his partners being picked off individually as they came in here. The nades being thrown by Yempty. Hacks actually moving in to support, but it looks like it's going to be Yempty going down.
It was, but the grenade does connect, and IFTI will be the first team eliminated from the TPP match 1. And just a reminder that this is the first match, just a warm-up, if you will, going on to the later 5 matches of the day. And we're going to be seeing these guys kind of get a tempo. Oh, trying to be the pun here, but trying to get a tempo for how they should approach day 2. And, you know, I want to talk to you about, you know, day 1 and how that reflected onto the standings, and based on the performances of, you know, what each team has done. Do you see specific or significant changes coming out for specific teams?
Well, I guess speaking in tempo, or of tempo, I should say, the one storyline that we didn't really talk about yesterday is that Valiate, their team leader, is extremely ill here at the tournament. He's been feeling under the weather, so I think that's definitely affecting their day-to-day. But I think they're going to try and bounce back here as we see Valiate engaging with Myth.
Basically a 1v3 situation. You see Minora on the left, so it's going to be a tough one for Milok to pull off, but trying to put some finds onto it. But Escalucia gets Valiant, as you do mention, and he's going to poke him on the side with that TPP vision. Wonder how he's going to continue on with this Myth. Still finding out with tempo, and 2 down for Myth at the moment. They 3 down, and Minora has to be the last 2 going on, but Maluk feeling very comfortable about this solo effort that he's putting out towards the Thai side, and really just a statement being put out, although in this TPP match, and I want to just move on forward with this.
No, the 249. Oh my gosh, Zampa is like, you know what, enough of this. We're finishing this now. So it looks like Myth is now really on the ropes. Minoru downing Zampa, and another.
Okay, so it's going to be 2 knocks coming in from Minoru, so we don't know.
Oh, no.
Actually, we thought Tempo was going to win that out quite handily. They've sent out the late reinforcements, so making it a 3v1 situation against Minoru from Myth. But, you know, Myth, just one member all to do it, and it was a solo effort from both sides.
Minoru just absolutely clutched that. They were so confident. Zampa runs in there, downing the teammates, and Minoru just uses the rock and the position and just completely wipes Tempo. Tempo completely dropped the ball there.
And we know how it's like, you know, just when you separate the modes, kind of making the argument count when, you know, TPP, more familiar in the East with, you know, all these Asian teams and from Korea, China. Even Thailand does include, even though Toffees did say FPP is a little bit familiar for them, but coming in, TPP mode for these Asian teams, do they get a little bit of confidence that does help them in the later 5 matches?
Well, I mean, yes and no. You gain so much in third person. You get the free vision, and once that's taken away, and this was something that I believe Break was saying on Twitter earlier today, that, you know, these matches don't necessarily set them up to be warm for the upcoming matches, because it's a completely different game when you're playing in third person perspective. So yes, you get that comfort, but you're getting comfort in essentially an exhibition match. And even though it's a great, I mean, so much of the population plays in third person, and you absolutely have to recognize that. But at the same time, when the meat games, like the ones that matter, are in first person, it's not providing you too much for the way of practice. So, and really in that instance, that was Tempo just mismanaging their aggression, and I don't know what to say about that.
And speaking of Break, we do see TSM Smack riding in the convertible UAZ there. And we're going to see them kind of approaching the very similar angle we've seen them do all day yesterday, with kind of going around the shooting range and heading north before they do have to cross the bridge. But TSM, a very solid performance overall, you know, ending up 4th overall in day 1. But It wasn't very impressive in how they pulled it off. They got the points, but it wasn't stylistically done by all these 4 popular players.
Yeah, they have a few adjustments to make, and I think Ghost is in the same position here as we see them kind of forming up to take some shots at GOL across the way. Ghost, in their own instances, have had okay placements, but again, very low kill count for a team that has very high-level fraggers. Profi, one of the best players in the game as far as that's concerned, especially in North America. So I'll be looking to see them kind of increase their kill counts, and typically when Ghost wins games, they come on the back of high kill games too. So it's really time for them to show that skill and increase their standings here.
And Ghost, you do see McCoy trying to just cheek out of these little holes here, and does take advantage of that TPP vision from that window hole, and it's going to be against GOL, it seems like, but no significant shots should be coming out from this angle unless the circle does force him to. But you know, GOL, this Chinese team, along with 4AM and IFTY, who have tried to do their nation justice with, obviously, from IMBA kind of sponsoring this program as well. It's going to be having a lot of million viewers just like watching over there.
Yeah, I understand it was quite an event, something like 8 million or something like that, which is insane to think about. But that just kind of shows you the popularity that PUBG has in China, and we see here during this first transition, Ghost kind of in a stalemate right here with GOL just kind of looking across at each other. So looking at the map, we see now that as this first transition is completing, that there's a lot of density around the center area, which is what we typically see. FaZe coming in on the edge, Avangar in Georgia Pole now transitioning as well. But again, that center density, as Profi does a little dance in his house here.
And as we do see yesterday, that kind of the pattern has been the center cluster, regardless of how big the circle was. And we see a lot of center movement from most of the teams that did end to a lot of action, especially down the 4th and 5th circle. But you know, we thought that day one could have had a pattern to show that other teams, when they review the VODs, and so many teams are clustered in the center, as you see on the minimap here. We thought that they might have switched it up and some of the teams do move out to the edges, although it is a TPP that might not completely reflect what we see in all the 5 games ahead. But we have to talk about what this playstyle will alter as the games go on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that alteration. It's again, it's vision. It's all vision. You can't get that in third person. And as we see here, Ghost now having a little bit more pressure. Atletico, the Australians, a team that we haven't really talked about too much today. They had some good early games yesterday, but they had a little bit of difficulty through the latter half of the day. So now it's up to the Australians to kind of assert themselves. They got good shots. GOL in transition here, taking a lot of pressure from Ghost, and actually Ghost in the receiving end as well.
And we're going to see Ghost and Atletico trying to get at each other, and Ghost is going to be in the compound trying to defend himself, but doesn't feel very comfortable with Atletico putting so much pressure on them. But you also see Myth being the Thai team. Minoru, we saw one of the last few survivors from the Thai squad beating out their opponents to get there, but we see Entis Ace and GOL here.
Yeah, GOL already taking a casualty here. Entis and GOL right on top of each other. Tavello going down. That's GOL eliminated.
Oh, I like that visual.
Ooh, that is a nice little graphic.
Thank you,
StarLadder. Yeah, thank you, StarLadder. That's cool. Oh, here comes Atletico right on top of Ghost.
We knew that Ghost was not feeling very confident and very comfortable in this compound, even though they were in a defensive stance. But in the end, Atletico makes the hard push, which does pay off, and Austin will go down in that second floor of the building.
Yeah, Ghost in trouble here. They actually started their transition, as you see here, Profi rezzing McCoy out in the field. Now it's only Austin down by himself. Atletico having full control of this engagement. Zero maneuverability for the remnants of Ghost right now. They're not going to be able to save Austin unless they have a huge showing here.
Okay, and we go to the minimap here, and we're going to see the second circle trying to get some timer on that to see how it's going to close up. But we're still looking at Ghost and Atletico here. Atletico very much winning out this trade for the time being. And we do see them spotting them out from the rocks as they hear the shots come forward. So that gives them the confidence to go up fierily to the second floor and kill off Austin. And Atletico is going to be feeling very good about that one.
Yeah, Ghost eliminated there. Myth actually picking up a long-range kill. And Atletico, I'm not sure, aware that Ghost has been killed. So they're going to be able to pick up some nice loot here. They're in the current play zone. They don't have too much traveling to do. But Atletico, as we mentioned, looking to up their game here today, and they're starting it off very well here in the show match.
And now we do see, talking about looting the corpse, and we did see the kind of valuable cause of trying to kill off some other opponent and trying to get what the items they had with ammunitions and also the meds that are available. But with the 1.0 AR settings that have been set for StarLadder for this specific tournament, 1.5 kind of has been the norm for most of the Western tournaments recently, but coming into 1.0 now, we are looking at the TPP matches, but how does that approach the kind of the aggressiveness and maybe the passivism of what the teams can do?
Well, you just don't have the ammo that you would normally, and that's, I think, very limiting to teams who would normally be playing aggressive. Aggressive behavior is limited by the amount of ammo. If you don't have anything to shoot, you can't be aggressive, right? So there's nothing you can really do. But with this 16-team meta, you do have the time and space to loot. So you're not having that additional pressure while you're trying to loot. So getting the gun isn't going to be as difficult as it would be with 20 teams. But getting that ammo to sustain you through the game is very difficult. So taking those and winning those team fights is very imperative to maintaining your strength through the end game. And that's why we see so much edge fighting happening as the game progresses.
And we do see the conversation between these players after day one ended with Fire, and so much conversation going back and forth, talking about this 1.0 change and how that affects each individual players coming from the teams. And they talk about these property values when it comes to, I even saw FaZe here, and you're just taking shots, but FuzzFaze coming from this FaZe, and he posted on Twitter about him being at melted power, and he only found 1 AKM and a few bullets to add on to that. So that usually isn't the case in 1.5 though. So how does the property value does that change when it comes to the different areas?
Well, I mean, the split looting strategy and 1.0 ARs don't really mesh that well together. And to be fair, melted power is one of the better spots to have when it comes to finding that decent military grade loot, but you can't necessarily outfit your entire squad. So there is going to be times where RNG just isn't coming in your favor, but that is part of Battlegrounds. That's what makes this game challenging.
It really is, and we talk about all these poor looting areas down the West Coast and also the Cloud9 position. Usually going down towards that three-way intersection right above the bridge, they did seem like they want to transfer over to Primorsk or even Severity even, but coming in now, you do see Cloud9 against 4AM kind of approaching this angle, and we're going to see the 4-man of C9 trying to get some 4AM blood here.
Yeah, 4AM unaware that C9 was right in front of them. They hit 2 quick casualties. Now 4AM already on their back foot.
And really, what are you supposed to do here when you have 2 quick knockouts of your allies and you just don't have much to do other than to move forward?
Yeah, and it looks like Moody coming up to support Frolicker here. They're going to be going full aggression here, and they're running straight at 4AM. No holds barred here.
And Captain is going to be the one knocked off, and the rest of the 2 players, Aluka and Gukun, coming in for 4AM. They have to put the counter attack, but it makes it extremely difficult for them to do so when the high hill is currently towards C9.
You can see Frex actually moving out on the flank immediately. This is how you kind of manage an engagement as Aluka just takes one off the side of the head.
Another knock coming in for 4AM, and that will be the last member standing for Gukun. What is kind of a lonely situation for this guy, and C9 and look for cleanup duties here.
Yeah, the way they position themselves on top of this hill, Frolicker and Frex immediately moving the flank, taking away all options for Gukun to defend himself. He's basically stuck in the open in this low ground position with C9 swarming all around him.
Should be a very easy one. How many casualties is he going to enforce? But none is the answer as C9. All 4 men fresh as they do pick out the win against 4AM coming in. So a very good advantage of the TPP vision that they use on the high hill to see 4AM coming through and get some very quick kills, the first 2, and the rest of them were easy.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually taking a look here at Atletico and LG. Both teams here trying to increase their standings here today. Obviously in the show match, not going to be able to affect the daily standings, but this is something that where I think LG needs to get some confidence back. They're in a familiar environment in the third-person perspective. They're facing down nearby Atletico, but right now I'd like to see some aggression. I mean, Teknosh being an aggressive player, high skill, but the rest of these guys are no slouches either. So it's a matter of get that confidence, get out there and take a fight.
And I know that Atletico, the fans are the most loyal in the world because coming in, we're talking about different time zones as we play this tournament out. And back in Australia, it is very late, and by the time this is over, it's going to be about the early morning. You see the sunrise, and the fans are still having kind of a show kind of a viewing party as they do, and that's what I heard from the players. And it takes loyalty to do that, Moses.
Well, loyalty is definitely the key word there, and Atletico has a huge fan base back in Australia. The Oceanic region, not really represented in tournaments as of late. I mean, not able to qualify for previous tournaments. So seeing them here today is both refreshing and, you know, it's also encouraging for those in the Oceanic region who might be interested in playing competitively as they see their countrymen here competing.
Definitely increasing competition should raise the morale of the region as a whole. And speaking of regions, South America is also represented here with Luminosity Gaming, with one of their 2 squads of the organization being represented from Brazil, and Bebe and the rest of the squad were trying to find a lot of success yesterday, but wasn't the case when it came to all the results standing in. What do you think about Luminosity? Did they play well and still not get the results, or was it just them playing bad?
Well, that's a tough question, and you know what? Looking at their standings and the way they've even split out right now, they have a 3-player or a 1 and 2 split right now. 9XT at the edge of the zone with his teammates a little bit further in. If they have no awareness that Atletico is right next to them, this split is going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, if they go to move here and try and transition to the next zone, they could be easily ambushed. Not to mention, I don't know if this is just a regular thing or what's happening, but LG seems to be under-geared all the time. I keep seeing level 1 helmets, level 1 vests, no ammo, no meds, that kind of stuff. You know, that's just something that is reflective of the fact that they're not taking fights, they're not winning fights, and they're not able to get better loot as the game progresses.
And just coming from Toffee's standpoint of what he found out through Atletico's standpoint was that they just like to get level 1 gear and just get out of there, and that was their plan. But more so, we do see out of Luminosity kind of was an unknown factor, but we do see Atletico making more statements than Luminosity have in the day ones, and they do it again as we do see Atletico knocking the first man of Luminosity. They're going to rush in here. Bebe, I wonder if he's going to be spotted here.
Yeah, it looks like Atletico has the low ground, which is important in third person. They can spawn out VB, and again, AXT, the last man standing, and LG will go down again. I don't believe they were able to pick up any kills this game either. I didn't see any activity from them, but LG easily wiped again.
Really a deja vu once again for what they have shown all throughout day one. Happens once again in the TPP Showmatch, but that really it really hurts your confidence when it obviously doesn't count towards the actual scoreline of the actual tournament. But you want to move forward with at least a little bit of confidence when you have the 5 matches ahead.
I was hoping that would be the case, but there is no confidence in getting wiped at 11 with 0 kills. I can't say for sure that they had 0, but we'll know at the end of the game here as we're moving on to TSM engaged here right on top of Vega.
We see TSM, ever since yesterday, making very good use of this high ground on the mountains. We do see Vega kind of joining their cause. 54s right in front of APR as we do see them. And Ananol and the rest of the Vega do see 54s. I don't think it's spotted by APR or Nest. Oh, as actually we do see Viz coming from the other side, getting the kill onto 54. So extended scout to stand over Vega, not successful.
Vega trying to actually, looks like rotate around the bottom of the Georgia Pole Mountain here, and Vis and TSM are actually just putting the brakes to them, so that's NNL down as well. So now it's up to Max's order to try and get some vision, but on the low ground, they just don't have the maneuverability that TSM does. It
definitely would have been a 4v4, a fair fight between these two sides, but all of a sudden it becomes a 4v2 where kind of Vega makes the same mistake. We usually see TSM kind of splitting up too wide that gets the casualties that doesn't actually favor, and Vega now in a tough situation.
Well, in the third-person perspective, you not only do you have vision of the enemies, but you have vision to your teammates. You can see where your teammates are in relation to you. So you can actually maneuver a little bit easier to know that you have good cover on your back, or there's your teammates close on your left. And in first person, you have to whip your camera around, look at your mini-map. Again, it's a lot more to manage. And we see here, looks like C9 is going to be running right across Atletico as well.
So after C9 beating out 4 AM in their encounter, they're trying to move forward with this circle here. They're going to be shot out by Atletico to their right. Atletico, they're just shooting outside the circle, and they're not going to think of moving in.
Yeah, it looks like C9 has positioned themselves ahead of Atletico, and Atletico getting eliminated immediately. So Myth actually picking up another kill there as well. Minoru, from long distance, snakes another kill.
And Minoru and the rest of his one teammate that had survived barely through their last encounter down in the south of Gatka. They're here still, 2 members strong, and there's 9 teams remaining, and they could potentially have a great series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Vitality sneaking in here as well. They are at the base of the mountain. They have vision onto C9. It looks like they're going to start to apply pressure.
Yeah, and in C9, we see 2 knocks coming in from Vitality. Vitality actually getting shot from Entus as well from the other compound. But right now, Minoru and Neotica from Myth, they're still alive. And C9 is going to be looking for trouble after they nicked out some of the Athletico members.
Yeah, Entus and Myth have both been poking away at teams at long distance. They have that position to be able to do so. They don't have the numbers to be full-out aggressive. But now Vitality going down to 2 alive, only with 1 kill on the team. TSM is actually moving down the mountain on the other side. So TSM is going to be able to sneak around here, and it looks like Moody is going to engage with Vitality.
It seems like Vitality is in a tough situation here. Not much angles they can hide themselves upon, with so many teams clustering up upon them. And we actually saw TSM trying to make the south entrance, but they did hear the gunshots and decided to move a little bit more north. So Roxy does not have to worry about TSM right behind them. They just have to worry about C9.
Yeah, Moody here just trying to get some painkillers into him and move on to Vitality. Shiv going down. I believe that's now only 1 up Araxi. The last man standing for Vitality. Entus and Myth have been playing spoilers here through the mid-game.
And Solid and Moody, the last 2 members of C9, they have to get a kill onto Roxy. They kind of have an idea of where they might be. Wonder if they know where Entus Ace is right in front of them.
Yeah, Entus just holding on to that yellow compound area just outside the zone. The circle now closing. TSM having to make a very tough split here and move down through in a wide open field. Liquid is down below them. FaZe is lurking in the ruins. Now, this is where we see TSM get into trouble. They're 2-2 split. They're far away from each other. And we'll see if they can make it work this time around.
And luckily, right now, TSM at the moment is just really impressive to the fact that TSM, even though they are all on a 2-2 split, they are still kind of not have many opponents around them, which does kind of make their split work out. But I want to talk about Liquid just a little bit because, once again, they are in one of these final few circles. All right, as we see Myth, we're going to have that later, and FaZe actually beats out Myth. It was a 2v2 situation. We thought Myth might have had a good chance on that one, knocking out Yemti. And then Yemti does go down, so it's going to be Mixie all on his own, with Hexeti kind of be the only teammate left alive.
Yeah, and we saw their Vitality got knocked out a little bit earlier as well. So Vitality out here. FaZe still holding on 2 strong. Liquid quietly staying 4 up here as well. They did get a little bit of a benefit from the circle, but they're holding on to the ruins and they're split as well. But they've got that nice vision split. I like the positioning of Liquid here. TSM is still strong. They're 4 up as well. They've got the high ground. We'll see what this next shift will look like. But Mixie and Hax have the ability to, you know, kind of rotate around and put some pressure onto Liquid.
And let's we're going to get back to that later once again. And to say to C9 going to go with each other. Samjang is going to be the only one left remaining. He does get knocked out by Moody in the end. And that is going to be actually TSM. Viz joining the fight here. And I wonder if he sees solid FPS from afar. He's going to get the blue circle damage onto solid FPS, and that will be the end. He does die to the play zone instead of to Viz. And TSM, once again, 2-2 split. As you see on the minimap, they're going to head towards north and south. They do have Avangard onto their downside. Wonder if they're going to spot that Avangard is 4 members strong, just like Liquid.
Avangard has been invisible this entire game, and all of a sudden they're 4 strong, moving on to TSM's position. Avangard with full kits here. I see the SKS, and it looks like TSM is going to be flanked here very quickly.
I think it's important that Avangard just really wants to go in here and try to make a statement, because they have not done so all throughout day 1. They're here with TSM onto their left, but Liquid and Avangard kind of invisible and really unheard of when it comes to the entirety of this TPP show match. But TSM, Viz, and APR on the south, are they going to be able to spot Avangard from afar?
I'm not entirely sure. At this point, Avangard has flanked up the hill, but has then gone immediately prone. They found themselves a kit here. So I'm not entirely sure what the game plan is. They have picked up an AUG, so I believe Avangard is going to try and, again, sneak in here, but TSM must be aware of their presence. They do have some indicator that they might want to move down on the flank, and the nades are coming out here.
It really is, and TSM now starting to group together with 3 members, except Break being the only ones clustered up together. Break trying to get an extended angle onto the vision towards the northern side. He's only going to see Jims, even if he does, and Liquid trying to kind of head themselves into this church compound at the moment, and FaZe is going to be right below them as well. So right now, 4 members strong, trying to look onto this and trying to get some picks early on, but TSM, it's going to be the one important end. 2 knocks coming in from Avangard. It's going to be a surprise coming in, as we saw a good position coming from Avangard.
Yeah, we see here the split being a bit of an issue. Now they're going to have to go for reses. There's only a few members down here, but now Avangard's on the ropes. Looks like Mumino is going to have to clutch this.
And Mumino, the only member left alive, he doesn't even finish
he
the
canceled the res. That's huge. That is just wasted a ton of time, and all of a sudden it's going to be TSM looking to see if they can spot anyone. They must know that reses are occurring, and they're now grouping up to be aggressive.
I mean, they do know they had 3 knocks with Avangard and Nuktiv. I mean, the only last member remaining. They're going back to where they saw him before. Mumino might go down to AMPR here.
TSM now all of a sudden in trouble. That's 2 down.
Okay, Mumino actually does get a kill, knock onto AMPR there, but we're going to see TSM actually Viz going down to the play zone. So all of a sudden, without TSM, they might just get a clean kill onto Avangard, just move forward. But even AMPR is going to die to the play zone very, very soon. And Break, the one left stranding away from his teammates, is going to be the only one left remaining as he enters the circle.
You saw that AMPR, in a heroic effort, started dropping gear for Break to pick up, grabbing the level 3 helmet and a couple of meds there. So Break, we've seen this before. Now having to be the snake in the grass as his team did take out Avangard. So the aggression did pay off, but they cost him heavily as well. So Break, the last man standing for TSM. Now it looks like it's going to be Liquid versus FaZe, with Liquid having the 4-up advantage and looking to close out another win to start today.
And you know what else we're seeing again that we saw all throughout day 1 is that Liquid had no fight, but they're still in the safe with all 4 men strong. So the positioning is kind of the thinking outright and thinking outside the box where other teams do not head to, and down in the ruins, they have been safe for the past 10 minutes.
Liquid, this is what I think they're best at. They ride the position, they have a bit of circle luck, but they stay 4 strong. This is not something that happens by accident. People get caught all the time regardless of circle luck, but they've managed to stay 4 strong, and that gives you a huge advantage. TSM, 1 man up. There's 3 teams remaining, 2 on FaZe. They've already been in fights the whole way here. They've taken damage. Meanwhile, Liquid has just come in with positioning and are now 4 strong with all their equipment up and are in position to win game number 1 today.
Just look at James just driving around the entire circle just to make sure where the opponents are. And that's the amount of freedom that you get when you have 4 men strong in a 7 left remaining situation. And you can just move so freely around the circle, get the save, knock out opponents, as we do see here. Hexeti's going to go down with 2 Sampi here, and Mixi might be the last man standing for FaZe. I wonder if they're going to get 3rd, and Break is going to be the first one down, so it's going to be the 3rd for TSM, and most likely the 2nd coming for FaZe.
You know what? FaZe has no option here. The circle is coming. They're going to have to give up their cover. Liquid has 4 strong. All they have to do is put pressure on them. So right now, this is Liquid's game.
It really is, and Mixi, sooner or later, Peace is going to come in and finish the game off. They're not going to wait for the play zone. They're going to go for the kill itself. And Ibiza showing up all day yesterday is going to be the last man standing, as he's the last one to kill off the last member FaZe. And they do pick up yet another victory. Moses,
I don't know if I can count this as 4 in a row, but I think I'm going to. I mean, it might as well. I mean, that's 4 in a row for Liquid. This game, the show match, just to be clear, does not count towards the standing. So I want to put that out there. But it doesn't matter. The formula is working. The positioning is working. And Liquid is just humming right now. That's 4 games. And, you know, this is a confidence builder. They're now ready to move into today 100% confident.
But let's continue on this argument that we started yesterday. Let's talk about the West circles benefiting them so much. They know the route that brings them success, and they have done this over and over and over again. They did not head towards Gaka at any of those games that they won, where everybody clustered around that same compound thinking they were very defensively confident. But right now, they're the only ones going north. They're the only ones heading themselves north, where everybody's just kind of killing off each other, and it happens again in the ruins where nobody is around them, and once again they pick up the victory.
Yeah, you know what? We have a lot of games to play. Eventually, this circle is going to go east, so I'd like to see how they react to the circle actually coming their way. So I'm very interested to see how they kind of manage their positioning, how they manage